Hey mate, I'm outside.
Coming.
I've come to this central London mansion that's been occupied by a group of anti-fascist anarchists, known as the Autonomous Nation of Anarchist Libertarians, or ANAL for short. I spent the last 2 years documenting the anarchist culture in London. I first met some of the ANAL crew during filming a documentary, as they attempted to create their own breakaway autonomous nation by occupying a housing estate in North London.
Well, if you can see our flag up there, this is an independent state at the moment. We've declared independence on the 7th of July from the United Kingdom government.
One of the founders of ANAL was Tom Palmer.
I, as a founder member of ANAL have taken some big buildings in the centre of London, mainly to highlight capitalism rather than the housing crisis. It's about basically the struggle between what they say we've got a democracy in the UK, but like there's always this parallel structure of power, which is the secret services, which like although they infiltrate at this level, they're also at the level of like the Parliamentary Labour Party. Like, there used to be the KGB in there, but we've got our people in there as well. And sort of higher up to the higher echelons of business and stuff, like the crony capitalism, and this sort of parallel sort of security services thing. It goes into the music industry, the media, those networks. Like they include like networks like the Alcoholics Anonymous network. They're like sort of spy networks or are infiltrated in their own right.
This is the group's first occupation since Tom Palmer's sudden and unexplained death in August 2016. Otherwise known as Agent Kingfisher, some of the anarchists believe he was a targeted individual and his death was due to his work exposing the secret state. Lying empty, this £15 million Eaton Square mansion is owned by Russian oligarch Andrey Goncharenko. The occupation is to highlight the injustice of so many empty buildings as homelessness rises.
Yeah, we're surrounded with embassy buildings. This is the, I don't know what they call it officially, it's the diplomatic zone in London. So all the national embassies, most of them at least, are surrounding us. But all of them are in the near area. And it's the diplomatic police corps that is policing this area. So it's a very diplomatic, very very hush-hush place. But the owner is some Russian oligarch who's one of the big dogs of Gazprom, or at least some kind of branch of Gazprom. So it's proper Russian connection. And it looks like he sent some skinheads around to scare the people, and they broke in a few windows. They scared children, like toddlers, playing in that room. So
the windows get smashed, did they?
Yeah. They did, yes. And it's weird, but it's been secured and it's been barricaded and it's safe now. And the diplomatic police is outside 24 hours watching the gate, so no one else can come and troll us that easily.
You think it's pretty dangerous to be in here?
Well, it was 15 skinheads smashing the gaff up from the outside, throwing something at the windows. They basically wanted to scare people out of the building.
They were most likely try and get in?
Not as far as I know. I don't think they would have wanted to. I mean, it was supposed to scare the people. I don't know. They didn't say what was their instructions, but it looks like they were paid to come and scare people out in favor of the owner.
You don't feel that you're in any danger being here?
Not necessarily, no. Well, just as dangerous as anywhere else. No, actually, no, that's not true. There's a diplomatic police car outside, sweating and making sure that this area is gonna be safe and all the diplomats are safe. So this place is actually much safer than anywhere else in London.
So what's the hope for this place?
I think that many people have different ideas and hopes. A lot of different movements and organizations are now converging here, and they can all do what they want, basically.
Are you looking at the
Here
details?
Here he is. 2 years ago, the UK's most expensive home, Hanover Lodge in London's Regent Park, was snapped up by an unknown buyer from its previous owner, Conservative peer Lord Belgravia. This was Andrey Goncharenko, who's some kind of banker, but that's all. Nobody really seems to be able to say anything more about him than that.
So what do you make of this timely occupation?
Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, I think it's really important to have facilities like this because one of the most telling things I ever saw about the London real estate market was anytime you see some like big house like this snatched up by an oligarch from one place like Russia, the global south, I mean, that's another hospital that didn't get built in the third world. I mean, that's what this money is. Like, nobody asks questions in the London real estate market. You can take money from anything, just launder it by buying up something like this and selling it again. So this is all just money laundering schemes for stolen money from that should have been going to provide public amenities to people in other countries. So the very least we could do is to try to provide public amenities to people here and to people who came from other countries because there are no amenities there. These people like that took it away. And I think the most important thing is to understand that compromise doesn't get you anywhere. I mean, anarchists are people who actually try to live their principles. Who say, not only do we want to think about that it would be nice to have a free society, not only do we want to actually start moving towards a free society, but we want to move toward a free society in a way that is consistent with the society we want to create. We want to actually create, as much as possible, live as if we are free right now. And that is the most effective form of resistance against tyranny, is to insist on your own freedom in every possible way you can win. I think that at this moment, we've seen just how disastrous the constant demands for compromise with people like Trump have actually been. We've simply handed over power directly to them.
And what's next, you think, for the left? There's talk of a defeat of the left at the moment.
No, there's a defeat of neoliberalism and neoliberals who are pretending to be leftists. I don't think the left has been defeated at all. I think, insofar as the left was defeated, it was defeated by the neoliberals. I mean, speaking of someone who's involved in Occupy, I don't like to be a spokesperson for anarchism. I'm not a spokesperson. I happen to be an anarchist myself. But I can talk about my own experience, my own perceptions. And my perception is that we had a sense of what was going on in America. We had a sense just how much Americans were furious about the corruption of the political system. I mean, the Democratic Party in the U.S. has essentially become the party of the professional, it's a party of Wall Street, but secondarily a social base, insofar as it has one, as a professional managerial class. These are people who are so obsessed with legalism, proceduralism. They think that if you simply make corruption legal, if you say it's legal to give politicians money to influence our vote, then it's okay, then it's okay, and they don't seem to understand that nobody else feels that way. Everybody else in America is like, these guys are complete crooks. This is a complete, that's what we were trying to get at. We talked about 1% and 99%. The ability to take money, your economic position, turn into political power, turn that political power into means of creating more money. It's a completely corrupt system. And we tried to point that out in a way that was prefigurative, non-violent, envisioned a genuinely democratic society. And the reaction of the people running the Democratic Party, they're kind of idiots. People in the right wing, they know that they need their militia guys or Operation Rescue guys. They think those guys are crazy, but they want them in the streets to legitimate themselves as the moderate alternative. People on the Democratic left, the neoliberal left in America, don't do that. They just crack down on you immediately. You're their real enemy, much more than the right wing is. So basically, they sent in the cops. They essentially abolished the First Amendment when it comes to freedom of assembly, beat the shit out of all the people who were doing violent occupations, and then suddenly they're shocked when people reject their candidate, It's like we told them, nothing could have been stupider than to do what they did. Put up this sort of neoliberal say, I represent the establishment, vote for me. And like they got their asses handed to them by Bozo the Clown, and they still don't realize that there was a problem with their model.
What do you think about the protests at the Trump inauguration?
Well, it's promising. I mean, it shows something which is quite scary, which is the degree to which the militarization of the police has been proceeding apace. They set up the means to create what's essentially a police state, but they held back on using it that systematically. They used it as much as they felt they had to under Obama. They certainly were incredibly brutal to the Occupy people, and that story really hasn't been told. But now they're just going crazy with it. I mean, they're just throwing felony charges at every single person they can, arresting journalists, throwing felony charges at journalists, using throwing concussion grenades and tear gas and pepper spray at everybody in the vicinity if there's even looks like there might be some militant protest. It's funny because people said, well, is Trump really a fascist? He doesn't actually have the brown shirts, does he? He doesn't have a sort of popular militia. But in a way, what they're doing in America is they're turning the police itself into brown shirts. They've already militarized them, and now they're going to politicize them.
It's been pretty quiet, the anarchist scene for
Brexit.
year or
I think
so.
Brexit has scrambled everything. Nothing is the same. Everything went upside down and downside up and fragmented, and it hasn't been really coherent. Protests every 5 seconds all over the place. Everyone is angry about something. Nothing's really been happening.
Have you noticed that people are becoming more polarized online? And
Yes, they are becoming very, very polarized. And I see two types of people happening now. One type would be compassionate people who are not just that, sorry, passionate people. And other people who are just created some kind of a bubble, and they each live in their own little bubble, or they live in a common bubble. You can choose what kind of news you want to read, basically, now on Facebook. Because what I do is I choose sources. Oh yeah, that's hardcore barricading techniques.
Is there anywhere else to take me on a tour? Show me the building.
This is pretty much what we use. There's a basement. That's pretty much it. There's this room here. We're still kind of reverse engineering the building, and there's a lot of rooms upstairs, but they're just rooms that people are sleeping in at night. So, yeah.
So is there hope to try and stay here?
There's always a hope to stay here, but in this world you plan for the next day or the next week, so you never have any long-term plans. You just take it as it comes. The vision is forming whatever you're working on, if you're working with dedicated people, and then whatever happens. It's part of a large part of a global movement.
So what do you make of the whole Trump thing and the anarchists out there? What's your thoughts on what's been happening over there?
I love that guy. He's the shock therapy for the whole world, not just for America. It's you can't go back to sleep after that. It's it's gonna be alright. Some asshole is head of the state. Everything's going to shit, but I have to pay my bills. No, you go to sleep now. The next day you wake up, and every day you wake up with something fucking what? What? Criminalized oxygen or something. It's really cool. I have upgraded that to not really that, but I'm really grateful for very quickly radicalizing and waking people up, because it is a crisis. People should have been panicking for decades now, but if they can panic because of Trump, then that works for me.
So do you think Trump's radicalizing the left more? Is there going to be some...
Yes, they have to resist. They have to do something. They can't just sit online, argue on Facebook what is politically correct and what's not, but because shit's happening, shit's got real. And, war is one thing, but in my opinion, atomic holocaust would be like an antibiotic treatment compared to every day with this system that we're living in, every day of this business as usual. can lead up to like 9 years and we start going extinct, as according to the scientists. If you believe in this sort of stuff, science and shit. So NASA went rogue. 40 government science agencies went rogue. They have their rogue Twitter and Facebook accounts. The Rebel Alliance in America. NASA is one of them. NASA has gone fucking full on Rebel Alliance. So I don't know what's happening anymore, but it's I think Trump has triggered the human evolution that has been fucking stagnating and not really getting anywhere because of the greed and all the. We can't really let go of the 20th century, and we have to because it's gonna kill us all. This is the 21st century. We've got really big problems at the moment.
So you see Trump as a positive thing?
In the end, yes, he's the proper idiot who's the perfect monster, a nightmare of anyone who's living in the system, who's still attached to this system that we live in. That shows the reality. Because Obama was he's like who's going to deal crack or something. That's what pops into my mind. A sexy guy who's got, this is good for you, this is alright. Or the other guy like, yeah, we're all gonna die, fuck you. So this guy is there's no illusions anymore. This shows what the American reality is and what the reality of the system is. They've taken away his launch codes. They've taken away, now some judge froze his immigration ban immediately, so they're starting to take power back from the president, which means that the president always had this much power. How do you give this much power to one fucking person? We're lucky that no one pressed that fucking red button because they had a bad day or something. And now we know that it's a proper fucking idiotic lunatic in there with Exxon, all the oil people coming with papers, putting it down to his table, and he's like in The Apprentice, like, signing it, showing it, and shit happens. He brought back Occupy Wall Street for a night. He brought back the anal crew. Him and Theresa May.
All right, man.
You ready?
Yeah, ready.
Eins, zwei, drei.
See you tomorrow.
Bye,
See you, man. See you guys. See you soon.